On today's episode of Gathering the Kings.
Started young, started at 22, and I'll just jump right in. I started with maybe $300 and bad credit, and ordered a
Typical
course.
22-year-old.
Yeah, but I heard and I learned that most people who become multimillionaires, it's through real estate.
You are listening to Gathering the Kings with Chaz Wolfe, featuring fellow 7, 8, and even 9-figure business owners who have real battle scars from business and life, but have prevailed as the king that they are designed to be. We welcome high-performing entrepreneurs to the stage in order to reveal the real of the real on what it takes to build a successful business today. We dissect the good and bad decisions they've made along the way that give a true and accurate picture of the journey of success and how you too can get there. Through this dialogue, you will learn the value of growing your network and surrounding yourself with power players and kings like today's guest. Grab your pen and notebook because we're about to dive in. What's up, everybody? Gathering the Kings Nation. Chaz Wolfe, Gathering the Kings podcast. Today, I've got Nathan Haley on the King stage. My dude, how we doing?
Good. How are y'all?
I think that it's Monday here as we're recording. And so I hope that everybody listening, whether it's Monday for them as they're listening right now or not, that they're having an incredible week because you and I are fresh thing Monday morning here getting rolling. Tell us what kind of business that you have, Nathan.
Well, I've been in real estate investing business for 15 years, started young, started at 22, and I'll just jump right in it. I started with maybe $300 and bad credit, and ordered a
Typical
course.
22-year-old.
Yeah, but I heard and I learned that most people who become multimillionaires, that's through real estate. And it had always kind of been in sales or done my own thing since then. So
Sure.
ordered this course, did a deal my first month, and haven't stopped. So
Wow.
yeah.
We were just talking off air a little bit about the creativity of real estate. You could say you're in real estate. I can say I'm in real estate. We could be doing totally two different things. Inside of the space, what is it that you like to focus on?
Well, I like to do flips because it's all over TV and it's a cool popular thing. No, I'm just kidding. But it definitely brings in cash, right? And I have actually a business partner, and I have employees and things, and that cash flow needs to keep coming in.
Yep.
So I started with a guy named Tom Barry. He's like my second dad. He's the most successful guy in life I know, not just business wise.
Yeah.
But he always says, the way to wealth is net worth, building your net worth. So he loved rentals. He loved rentals in all assets of real estate, from single family to commercial to all of those things. So I collect rentals also, but I started with wholesaling, and I think it's a great way to start. There's not a lot of your money in it. You just need some time to drive around and gas money and a little bit of marketing money maybe, but it's a great way to know the players, learn repairs, how to figure your ARVs, how to run your whole deal.
Right.
I think it's a great way to start.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so tell me, you're obviously where you are now because you've been successful over the course of 15 years, but why do you still push? I mean, my guess is that you probably got enough where you could sail off and be okay for a while, but you don't. You're still at it. Why?
Yeah, I mean, just if I quit today, like, yeah, this is cool, but I have big goals, and that's what's really driven me. My second dad, Tom Barry, created this 5-year plan that he started teaching 13 years ago.
Okay.
And it's just really impacted me. He's actually teaching it again here soon. He doesn't just teach it. We have to Tom, will you please come and teach us again? And he did. So, but it's really been my guide, my structure in my life that I've written out and have a board on. And some of these are big goals, like having a house on the water, which is one of them, right? I've got it.
Look at that.
Right. Another one is, just, am I still there? Yeah. Another one is just pay my mom a year's salary for being my mom. Another one is just helping others, bigger goals. Right.
Yeah.
So that's why I push, that's why I push. And once you get to a certain point, financially and got a system going, you have to push on other levels, let's just say, on other things in your life.
That's right. That's right. Where does that come from for you? Why, like, I mean, it'd be so easy just to be like, I mean, I've done some big things. Sit on your nice little house by the water and just chill. But there's obviously something inside of you that's creating these bigger things. Why?
Yeah, honestly, man, it comes from God, and it comes from inside. It might be some of my personality, but I want to help others. I want to help others succeed and see their success. At some points I've helped people, and when they when they achieve, as far as wholesaling and getting the biggest check they've ever seen in their life, or flipping a house and seeing the biggest check they've ever seen, which I helped them with, held their hand through before in the past.
Yeah.
For me, sometimes that's more rewarding than me doing a flip, right? Just doing another flip that I have, and and some of these guys, I've impacted them, and this is all they do in their life now, right? So that's big for me. I like helping others. I like seeing others' success. I like to, just have a big community that I've helped over the years. And yeah, that's what impacts me.
That's cool, man. Tell us back, you're 22, you're getting started in real estate and not going to work in corporate America. Like, why entrepreneurialism?
Well, first of all, I'm a bad employee. Had to figure it out. No, I mean, where I worked and stuff, I was always kind of the top guy, but I just, and at some points when I started wholesaling, my first 2 years, I'd go back, like, I'd be in between these wholesale deals, and I wasn't, good with money at first. And I'd be like, 5 grand, I'm rich. Right. And I might go
and then you come back to the job.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'd be like, okay, well, I need a little job or whatever. And I'd be there and I'd be like, man, how much are they paying me? Well, I'm doing a wholesale deal over here. And it made my mind think, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Well, if I go work for myself like I do these guys, I'm going to make way more money and kill it and have more freedom and
Right.
more, just assets and things I can do to hit my goals and help others with. So,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah.
So that was the realization of, if I do it for myself with the same fervency, the same effort, the same top skills that you were bringing to somebody else,
Yeah.
it was worth it for you. That's great. I think that a lot of entrepreneurs can relate to that. And so for you, I want to kind of like go back in time to maybe your first year, maybe it was the first 5 years, really before the first million. And I want to know, what was a good decision that you made along the way that helped you get to the first million?
Sure. So like I said, I was talking to my second dad, Tom Berry. We started in real estate together, and he helped guide me. He's about 20 years older than me. At the time, though, he was about to get, I didn't know it, kicked out of his rental house, get his car repoed, right? But he had a 5-year plan. His wife went to work at Cracker Barrel as a waitress. And within 4.5 years, he was a multimillionaire. Yeah. And so that helped a lot. And one of the things was he studied personalities, which at the end of the day is psychology, right?
Yep.
And so I knew that I'm a social driver. So I'm never going to go try to be this technical guy that's going to, rule the internet, or, a good employee. No, I'm social. I'm good at building relationships. I'm a genuine person. That's what I used to get in there. Right.
Yeah.
And so just a great decision that I made was I met Tom Berry at the beginning, and honestly, it just came naturally. I feel like he reached out to me. I reached out to him. We're like, oh, let's hang out. We talked together almost every day for like 2 years straight, helping each other. Right.
Yeah.
And so that was a great impactful situation that helped impact me. And like you were talking about earlier, you wish you had someone in your family that was successful in real estate, or that she
Right.
could guide you or help you at first. Well,
Right.
this was he is now like my second dad. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. I think the principle that I'm hearing you talk about is, first off, you call him second dad, which is great. He's a little older. Maybe you felt like you could glean wisdom, just life experience. He obviously had a family, but really, you guys are running buddies,
Yes. Yes.
right?
Yes,
Like,
we
he's
were.
taking risks, you're taking risks, you're navigating through the risks together. It's the hype, it's the excitement of having a wingman.
Yeah, we really were. I remember one time Tom was like, or no, I'm sorry, his wife Melissa was like, Tom, Nathan's 22? Because we would just talk. We were just friends, really helping each
Right.
other. It was like, no. It was like, we both cause I was pretty mature, I guess, for my age, we were in certain ways, let's just say,
Sure.
uh,
Yeah.
and not in others. But anyway, it just, yeah, we were just friends. We were helping each other and we were like running buddies, and so though he did have 20 years more experience in business than I did in another
Yeah.
business that he had.
Sure. Yeah.
That definitely helped. That
Yeah. I think that you've got the experience piece there that you're giving to him, which is great. You be able to glean on that. I would venture to say that if we interviewed Tom, he would be as excited about those moments as you are describing them because you probably spurred him along just as much as he spurred you along. And I think that that's the relationship piece. It's not always just giving to others, right? It's a give and take. And whether you call it a mastermind group, whether you call it a close friendship like this, I have both. Obviously, Gathering the Kings is a mastermind group, but then I have close friends where on a weekly basis, I have scheduled time and we go over family, we go over business, we go over just stuff because if
nice.
you're running together, it's the excitement, it's the accountability, it's the I'm pressing forward, I'm talking out loud to somebody that is hearing me, picking me up, understanding what I'm saying because they're the same. They're the same mind on the other end, going
Yes.
through similar and or even different things to be able to give some different perspective. So, anything else you want to add there?
It's just that I feel like, and here I go into my psychological talk, but I feel like life is choices and decisions that we make, and
Right.
something in his 5-year plan he has is good news. You're not a victim of circumstance. You are where you are because of the decisions you have made and and the choices that you made in your life.
Yeah, 100%. And I fully agree with that. It's a big reason why we go over good decision, bad decision here on the show. So
Yeah.
let's turn the coin over. We talked about your good decision. Give us the not so pretty version of a bad decision.
Sure, sure. When I was young and I started and, like I said, I'd make 5 grand and I was, single there for a little bit and I would just be like, that's the
Boom,
thing. I'm
gone.
social. I'm social and probably a lot of successful people I feel a little bit are extreme with some things,
Sure,
right?
sure. Obsessive.
What's that?
Obsessive.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. Yep. Another way to put it. And so, I had to learn to, let's just say, not party as much,
Right.
and keep it at
Yeah.
a certain pace, a certain level. Cause I just really enjoyed when lots of people were having a great time around me and I was having a great time, and I think there's a lot of people out there that do that, but let's just say sometimes I take it to another level, like
Yeah.
bar, the whole bar a shot or whatever.
Right, right.
So, there's always things you have to grow from, I
Sure.
feel. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and so the lesson there, obviously, or maybe not obviously, but that I'm hearing you say is that you weren't a good steward with the money simply because in those moments you were maybe a little too caught up in either whether it's the party scene or pleasing your friends or just having a good time, not really thinking ahead monetarily. And so learning from those moments now has probably allowed you to do more deals, put more money forward. We call it the king's roll in the mastermind group. It's like you got to take money from this deal. You don't take it and then go buy shots for everybody. You take it and you put it in the next deal.
Right.
You roll it forward into your future, into the future version of who you want to be, whether that's self-improvement, another deal, another investment of some type, whatever.
And at the end of the day, that's how you help more people, right? It's, yeah, you're having a good time, but you're not helping them by buying them shots. You can help them by growing more, and then, having more events and having more ways to help them. Right. So
Chances to follow along and what you've actually been able to do. I want to talk about obsession here for a second. I don't always turn this corner here, but since you brought it up,
yeah,
there's obviously an obsessive or like you said, an extreme tendency that a lot of entrepreneurs have. And whether that's with work or whether that's with a substance or whether that's with whatever, right? I want you to talk on that for a little bit because you've transitioned through life with having that. You still have it today, but it's obviously just focused on different things. I want to hear your thoughts on obsession.
sure. So like we were talking about earlier, we are a part of a lot of successful investors are part of a group that meet up, and we help each other.
Right.
And I've been a part of one. We call ourselves Top Gun, and they're like 5 years. We used to meet once a week, like an hour and 30-minute drive at first. Anyway, but it was so worth it. So worth it. Some of the best experiences in
Totally.
business and life, really. And so when I learned, I was like, okay, I know I'm different. But when I was with these guys, they were like, a lot of them were like me in the part of being extreme, at least for a period of time. Yeah,
Right.
let's just go with extreme in business, right? Extreme in business. And again, my second dad said, you can go, that's why his 5-year plan is there. You can go extreme for a short period of time. But his thing is, if you do it right and work in real estate investing for 5 years, you don't ever have to work again if you don't want to. Right.
Right.
That's his point in that. And so I noticed these other guys are extreme. So it helped to be like, okay, so how are these guys using that for good, not bad? How are these guys, helping themselves to develop as great people? Right. So that was another thing I learned from that group.
Yep.
The biggest thing I learned though is like, okay, there's other people out there like me.
That's right. That's right. Just a little bit crazy, a little bit obsessed. I had this conversation with a guy inside of Gathering the King's mastermind, and it was around a similar thing. Like before, I used to be obsessed with a substance, and then it was business, and eventually, I had to like it's almost like the coaching that he received, or the advice that he received was to not be obsessed, right? That those things were crushing his life because he was obsessed with the wrong things, right?
Yeah.
And so the conversation that we had really was a freedom around, hey, bro, you're designed to be like this. In fact, it's God given. Like
Yeah.
literally, it's a talent that you would be able to hone in on something so aggressively and so obsessively for any given period of time, short, long, whatever. And so as long as, like you said earlier, a few minutes, if you can focus that on good things, and I mentioned that he had been obsessed with business, and really what I meant was, his idea of success, money and what money can bring. Yes, okay, that's part of it, but when your perspective changes to legacy or helping others or building a community or your family, and building a family and what that looks like for future generations, then it's the same obsession. It's the
Yes.
same the feeling that you had in the club.
Yes.
But now it's just being used to perpetuate wealth and also other resources for future generations, you and future generations.
1,000% agree with that. I asked my second dad, Tom Barry, I'll just call him by his name, that, and he, because, I mean, let's just say he has the most net worth of any guy I know, right? Along with, other things, but he does it now for legacy, and he'll say like, you can shake the berry tree and no money will be dropping out of it, right? But now he has changed that whole tree of his name.
Right.
Right? And he takes his kids out. He pays for everything. There's like, I don't know how many now, 20 something with the kids, with the babies and
Oh,
the husbands and the wives and
yeah,
all
yeah, 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 yeah. That makes
once
sense.
a year. And he pays for everything. And he just, he enjoys that and just connecting.
Yeah.
He is a similar personality as mine. I'm a social driver. He's a driver social. So he's we're pretty similar.
Hey, Chaz Wolfe here. As many of you know, I have been on an absolute mission to help entrepreneurs from all across the country in many different industries level up their game and grow their business and intentionally connect with other entrepreneurs. We do that obviously through the podcast, but we also have a peer-to-peer mastermind group specifically for 7 to 9 figure business owners. We are bringing some of the best and most successful entrepreneurs and minds together in a regular and super intentional way to not only grow our network, but to be able to leverage. And at a certain point in business, success becomes about leverage, leveraging time, leveraging resources, leveraging key relationships. This is exactly what we're doing inside of the peer-to-peer mastermind group called Gathering the Kings, specifically for 7 to 9 figure business owners. So if that's you, if you're ready to level up your 7 to 9 figure business even to the next level and get around other big hitters just like you, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com, fill out a short application, and it'll come to an application call with me, and I want to chat with you to see if it might be a good fit. Talk soon. Yeah, yeah, I love that. Okay, so we've talked about good and bad decisions. You've even mentioned earlier that you believe that, a lot of life is based, where we are today is based on the decisions that we've made. How do you now go about making decisions at the current state?
Sure. Well, I think it's how you start your day. So I start my day every morning on my porch here that I showed y'all. And I have my burrito, I have my coffee, I have my water, and I have my Bible. And I read a little bit of my Bible. And then I say what I appreciate out loud. I don't care if anybody's around. I just say what I appreciate out loud. Right. And that can change your perspective on the day. Right.
Yeah.
So then when I get in my truck, I have my audiobooks that I'm listening to as I'm driving. I'm not listening to music and all that. Right. That's rare for me. And maybe on the weekends I'll listen. But, some audiobooks, I'm connecting with good people that are growing. And, and then we'll kind of go into, would like to kind of get more personal, but what we talked about before. But basically, about 3.5 years ago, something happened very personal to me and threw me off. And I was teaching a lot before then. Well, long story short, about 4 months ago, I almost died. Knock on wood. Thank God I'm here. Thank God I'm talking to you guys, right? And so then what happened? I'll just condense it, but basically fell and hit my head, was drugged, fell and hit my head. I had, within that time frame, my cousin who's super popular, has a kid, has a girlfriend. He lives in the valley. I'm in Texas over here. And he fell and hit his head and died.
Oh, wow.
So I said, wait a minute, God's trying to tell me something.
Yeah.
I said, what's he trying to tell me? So I said, well, he wants me to get closer to God and talk about him more in public and to get back to teaching like I was.
Yeah.
Definitely changes your perspective on life, what's important, what's not important, what people think, who cares, right? Just be genuine, be you, help people if you're a good person, right? So that got me back on the journey. So now I'm teaching again a lot. And like I said, I'm extreme with things. Basically, a lot of these guys who met me, or my best friend James, he's known me for a while. He's seen me teach before, but a lot of these people haven't seen me teach like I did before. Well, I've been on like 6 different teaching events in the last month and a half, right? I've got one coming up that I set up. I got 62 people coming to. I got 100 I'm teaching that next week. I've already taught on a lot of different places. So like I said, I'm extreme with things. So, but I'm using it for the good to help people, right? Focus on the goodness, with it. So yeah.
Dude, I appreciate you sharing, the moment there. Obviously an emotional time for you to be able to have most precious thing, obviously life itself, not just time, but literal life be potentially taken. And then the realization that the same activity took someone else's life. It puts things in perspective, like you said. And it's unique. I had this conversation with my wife the other day. Perspective, you can't have perspective if you don't know what it's like to be without. And so in this case, the perspective now on life is because you had this feeling of, oh my goodness, what it would have been to have no life, and to even think about the people that would have been around you still without you now, and to think about that impact. But it's the same thing like that probably you and I experienced growing up, not having a whole lot. Because I didn't have a whole lot, I now think of things a certain way because I see I can have the perspective difference of what it was without and what it was with, and so it makes me grateful. And so that was probably the biggest thing that I heard you say, even though the emotional connection was around obviously what the Lord is doing in you, but it's perspective. If you know what it feels like to be without, or even the glimpse of it, then it makes you grateful for the things that you currently do have, even though they may not be the end, right? Because
Yeah.
again, we go back to entrepreneurs. We have these big goals, these big visions. I'm not done. I'm after it. But you still have to find this place of rest in the moment now of gratefulness because you understand the difference of where you've been versus where you are now.
Amen, 100%. And I just I want to go into that a little bit more, or add to that if I can.
Yeah,
And
please.
I feel like, and I talked to my best, he's like, man, because we talk psychology, he'll call me, hey, let's, we start talking psychology in the morning. And he's like, man, sometimes he's like, that's too deep. People aren't going to get it. Right. But whatever. Again.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with that and say that my Tom Berry, he had a different perspective on life because he almost was bankrupt before. Or I'm sorry, he did declare bankruptcy before, and he
Wow.
wanted to
Yeah.
never be there again. And honestly, I thought that was one of his strongest suits that he had, right? Because he knew where really bad was, himself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank God I've always had a place to live. I've always busted my butt, though a perspective is reality, can be reality, right?
Yeah.
And so, just if you can learn from other people, if you learn from yourself, you're better than most people. If you can learn from other people, you're in the top, let's 5%, I would say, and grow from there where they've been and what they've been through, right?
Yeah, it
So,
seems so easy, such an easy concept or even principle, but it's the application of such where you hear the story today. So I'm talking to the listener. You're hearing the story today, right? Of obsession and changing the obsession to good things. We're talking about making good decisions. We're talking about taking a chance to invest, whether that's in real estate or in a business or you as an individual. Investing is the same principle across, but you're hearing Nathan talk about all these things and the time frame from when you hear it today to then when you take action is the differentiator. That's it.
yes, yes. There's so much information out there. You can look up all this stuff on YouTube. You can look at it all on the internet. At the end of the day, that's 20% of it, maximum, right? The rest of it is going to take an action, right? And doing the things that you've learned and connecting with the people that you need to connect with and growing as a person, I
Right.
feel.
100%. Okay, I'm going to come at you a little different angle here with
All right.
speed round questions.
So
I want you to break your real estate business down into one trackable metric. If you can only pick one, what would you be tracking forever and ever?
my net worth.
Love it.
Yeah.
Why?
Because when you add to your net worth, even if it's only that's a lot of $100,000, let's just say, right? Well, that grows exponentially every day. Every day. When the renter's paying your mortgage down, when appreciation is increasing, right, on the houses, let's throw in inflation, that's going to increase the prices, right? Like, it's also I feel a saving from yourself that you can't access very easily, right? Unless you're in the top, I don't know what it is. It's a small percentage that are really good at saving in America, right?
Right.
So growing your net worth can never be a bad thing ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course you got to have cash too. So you got to balance, right?
Yeah.
But, I feel in my eyes, at least, net worth is more important.
Yep. Love it. What book would you recommend, Nathan, for a 6-figure business owner to read?
I've got a few of them, but of course, Think and Grow Rich is a great one. It's another one.
What's your takeaway from that? I mean, that's the only book I read every single year. What's your
Oh, really?
one takeaway?
He has so many good things, but just learning from other people, learning from his poor dad, his rich dad, the different mindsets, the perspectives is a big one. I feel, and that's what puts him in the top percentage because he learned from others' mistakes and he didn't have to create them himself. You
Right.
know, you probably have listened to it a lot more than I have. You listen to it every year, but
Right.
I try to change up the books. Once I read that one, I read another one, I read another
Yeah.
one. Honestly, man, I've been focused on relationships lately. So I have, let me see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books in my about relationships, right? So, but the 5 a.m. club, Think and Grow Rich, high performance habits are all good ones, So, and just surrounding yourself again around good people that have achieved and seeing their perspective on it also, not just books, but other people.
Yeah, that I would actually say you're spot on with that, and I would take it to another level. My first ability to get around people was through books. And that seems odd that I would get around people through books, but I was getting
Yeah.
to know successful people and successful principles based on their stories through books first.
Yeah.
Before I ever had the the gumption or the balls to invest in a mastermind group or in a coaching or whatever. It was a $10 book, a $20 book, and that's how I got around people or I got to know mentors. But obviously it's got to go beyond that. But you're right, it's 100%. You got to be able to get that perspective. All right, I got one question for you around kind of what we're just talking about, getting around other people. The question normally is, do you intentionally network or mastermind with other entrepreneurs? Obviously, we already know that you do. But I want to just give you another opportunity here to talk about the value here, or maybe spin it like this. If you had the person listening right now who's never gotten around a rich dad, or never been a part of a mastermind group, or never hired a business coach, or whatever the tactic is, it doesn't really matter. What would you say to that person who's never done it before?
Okay. That wants to be in that group, correct?
Yeah, or they're just thinking, I want to get to the next level, but they've never even thought of or heard of this idea of investing in myself in this way or in these
Okay.
ways, because there are obviously lots of different choices.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah. So where you want to be and where you want to go in life, you have to ask yourself, who do I have to become what do I have to do to attract that into my life? Never chase, attract it, right? And so who do I have to develop into? What books do I need to read? What do I need to be doing on a daily basis to be in every asset of life, whether it's, spirit, business, mental, health, physical? What do you need to do? Who do you need to become in order to attract that into your life? That's what I'd be asking. And then trying to come up with those answers and then doing those answers.
Yeah. So good. So
Yeah.
simple.
I try to, hey, that's what I learned that from a second life. I keep things simple. Like I just, life is complicated enough, but it can be very simple. Not easy, but simple.
That's right. Not easy, but simple. All right, Nathan, last question for you. If you lost it all, what would you do?
Honestly, I don't know. I have a positive, I'm really positive and different mindset, but I kind of be excited about it because I know I'd be like, man, I got to get back in there, start over. Like it's not always where you end up. It's the journey that's exciting, right? Helping all the people and doing the deals and yeah, when your back's against the wall, guess what? If you're a successful guy, you're at it. You're gonna get it done. You're gonna figure it out. You're gonna do whatever you got to do every day. At least in my mind, I'm going to. Right?
Yeah, it's funny. I've had a lot of more than you can think of. Out of 150-ish shows now, we've had, I don't know, quite a few people be like, you know what, kind of in a weird way. I mean, it'd be freeing,
Yeah.
let go of all the things that you're built. But we all know we just do it again.
Yes.
But the free, almost like we can go back to the younger version of ourselves, to kind of just get after it again,
Yeah.
I think that's a definitely a unique perspective for sure, but one that a lot of successful people I think have. I've heard it right here on the show many times. Nathan, how can a listener connect with you? They've enjoyed you here today. They want to maybe come to one of your classes. They want to know real estate. They just want to get to know you better. How can they find you?
Yeah, well, my classes are in person. I'm in the Houston area, Galveston area, but I would actually just started building up my Instagram, and it's Nathan O. So it's NATHANO 277. I would say follow me on Facebook, but I'm Mac. But I think I just got the follow button. If you want to follow, just look me up, Nathan Haley. I do a lot of Facebook lives there at my projects and things. And we did have a website crash, so we're getting another one up. So we'll be getting that in, but in the meantime, you can connect with me there and I'll keep y'all posted. So yeah, I can help that way. And if I can help y'all in any way, feel free to reach out. And I love helping people.
Yeah, Nathan, I just so appreciate your vulnerability, sharing your story, as well as just the advice. And we wish you nothing but success. And of course, a blessing you and all the things you have your hands to. Thanks for being here.
Appreciate it, Chaz. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Gathering the Kings today. I hope that you were able to pull out a few nuggets to go apply into your business right away. More importantly, though, I hope that you're realizing that it takes more to be successful than just being by yourself, doing it all on your own, carrying the weight all by yourself. What I have realized, not only in my own journey from multiple businesses and multiple different industries, and now interviewing over 200 or 300 other very successful 7, 8, and 9-figure business owners, is that it's tough to do it alone. And so Gathering the Kings exists to bring together successful entrepreneurs. In fact, we are putting together 1,000 kings, specifically who are grateful but not done. We're intentionally assembling kings who fight tooth and nail for their business, family, and communities. And here's what we believe, that in the pursuit of excellence in those areas, that it ignites within us the responsibility to govern power and forge a lasting legacy. So if that relates and resonates with you, and you know that you need people around you, sharp, qualified, other very successful business owners, I want you to go to gatheringthekings.com. I want you to take a look at what we're doing and see if it makes sense for you to be part of our pursuit to 1,000 kings. Talk soon.